Hey, hey, hey. Here, let me make you a co-host. Can you hear me, Laura?
I'm here. I was posted
I don't know
again,
if the...
and
Okay, there we go. I was making
yeah,
sure the co-host invite worked.
that worked. I'm also kind of muting conversations now, so I don't come back to like a billion notifications because that lunatic right now in my mentions is just he's on fire right now.
He's on... Oh, you made another one mad.
Oh my
Oh,
god! Like
that's always
all I
fun.
did, like he was talking about abortion being technology, and somebody had told him abortion is technology, like a noose is technology. And he was like, "Oh my god, you're threatening me. You're gonna try to kill me. All this kind of stuff." I was like, "Dude, do you not know what a metaphor is?"
How do you find... I need like a science like thing for you and Orty and finding the nuttiest website. People that are either so retarded they can't tell their ass in the face or just so insane that like you think that they jumped off a cliff into insanity. Like what the
Oh, I mean, it got worse. He said that abortion prevents pregnancy, and I'm like, "No, you're only seeking an abortion because you're fucking pregnant."
Oh god. I have some nuttiness of my own. Brass, the I don't know if you'll know or if anybody doesn't know who that is, it's Brat at Brass One. He decided to make photoshops of one of the pictures I took for prom back when I was 18. Um, a
Oh
long, long
god, that
time
was
ago.
so funny.
And he's decided to make these different. I'm gonna put it in the comments so that everybody can see this most recent edit. But dear God, it. He put my face. He put my face on Andrew, or he put Andrew Tate's face on my body, and it is the most horrifying thing. I'm like, why would you? My face is already bad enough. I don't need like that's. Why would you do this to me?
I saw the Trump one, and then when he put my face on your picture,
Oh, that was insane. That was so funny. I wish I could find that because that is wild. Somehow your face looked better on me than my own face, and we need to talk about why that is.
do I need to get Rick in here to make you like stop talking bad about yourself?
I'm not saying anything. All I was saying was you have a really nice face. That's all I said. But hey everybody that's in the that's in the space with us. If you don't know what this is called Total Fucking Chaos, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We just
It's total
talk
fucking
about
chaos.
wild stuff. Like, yeah, it's we talk about wild stuff. We talk about, we shoot the shit, make each other laugh. That's the whole purpose of this. It got a little dark last time. We're gonna try to avoid that this time. So, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody is welcome to speak too. Just request it. All we're gonna ask is like try not to talk over other people. Like put up the little hand raise icon or something, so it doesn't actually devolve into just a hot mess. So we can actually hear people.
Yeah, and Brass, you're in the space now, so I just want to fucking thank you for ruining my face. Hold on, let me invite this back. Okay, there's so many people. You ruined my face, by the way. So I have. Oh my God, Andrew Tate does not belong on my body.
I don't think Andrew Tate's face belongs on his body, so that's not really saying a whole lot.
Yeah, Andrew Tate is like I saw this picture he took recently of himself where he's smiling, and I'm like,
Oh my god,
I'm
that's the one that
sorry,
I shared.
I don't like.
I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude?"
Like I was trying so hard not to because I don't like to judge people's appearances unless they come after me first. But I'm like, why did you think that picture was a good picture? Like,
Well, this was
what
the guy
the
who was basically
idea?
like he's basically made a living off like appealing to the incels. And I've had people actually get mad at me
Yes,
for using that word, but there's really no other word for these types of guys, you
Pickup
know?
artist.
yeah, these guys that think they're macho like because they abuse women or hate women. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the pearly Tate or the pearly community type people. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
incels.
Um, well, the question that needs to be asked is how many Bugattis do you guys have?
I have at least 20, so I already beat Andrew Tate. They're all in my head, but that doesn't count. You know, they still count.
Hey, I identify as a Bugatti owner, so
My gender is fabulously wealthy.
yes. Now
Uh,
all I need is that kind of gender affirming care where they just give me the cars and the money. So
Oh God.
yeah. Oh, I remember how funny it was to make those pictures where I swapped Zelda's face out with like different people.
yeah, that's what we're
We were
talking
just
about.
talking about those.
Oh
You
yeah.
ruined my face.
Oh, I think you ruined it first. I just made it more obvious.
Exactly. See. I wasn't talking bad about myself. I was pointing out a factual statement.
I don't know. I think my favorite was still the Trump one though. Like for some reason that actually kind of worked. Like I don't know how, but
Oh my
I kept
God.
going
No,
back
don't
to that
do
one.
that. No. At least they didn't put Biden's face on my body because then I would have to just I oh my God, I can't even tell you how horrifying that would be. I would never be able to look into a mirror again.
Oh, well, thanks for giving me an idea.
Yeah.
No, Brass, no. Okay, that was not idea fuel.
Well, what's funny about it is that when I first seen the original picture that you sent, I was thinking about like other memes where they had like people that were looking in the mirror and had like an opposite thing looking back at them. And I thought, huh, I could probably work with this. And,
I could make this even worse than it already is. Thanks, Brass. Always appreciate it.
well, what's funny is like you said, like how you said, for whatever day you say, come here and roast me. I'm like, I roast you every day.
Yeah. We next Friday, for those who are curious and desiring, next Friday is my birthday. So my 26th birthday, and so I asked Rick to create a space where everybody can just come and tell me jokes and roast me and just have a good time. So that's what's going to happen next Friday. I don't know what time. I haven't talked to him about those specifics, but I do know that it's gonna happen next Friday.
Ah, so, I mean, that's good. It sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun seeing you and your man Rick, talking.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lot of short jokes. I'm already prepared for that. I'm only 4'11", so there's gonna be like a lot of just jokes about me being short, and I'm already prepared for it.
Yeah, I always, yeah, it's gonna definitely gonna be there. It's sort of an obligation,
I mean, literally,
but
I'm 2 inches away from being one of the midgets that Daniel talked about being in his village. Like, I'm only 2 inches away from being that legal size that he could just
Hey,
have his fortune and have me in his little midget village and then just ruin my house whenever he wants if
yeah.
he ever wins the
But
lottery.
see, that's just it. You would be well taken care of. You would never want for anything in your life, like health care, everything. You're set for life. So it's
yeah,
kind of a win-win.
Well, yeah,
I love that you're, like, rationalizing this. Like, look, you would never you would never worry about anything. You would never, it would just be, you would never want for anything. All you could do is just destroy your house and then rebuild it,
Like,
and everything would be
it's
fine.
definitely not like a slavery thing. It would only be people who are willing to like have their houses destroyed every now and then. Like,
That is so. I mean, that is the funniest if I win the lottery idea ever. Like, I don't. That's so funny. Like, usually people are like, I want lots of money to spend and to do this and to do that. And Daniel's like, no, I just want to have a little midget village and
where you just
like,
where you
that's
get to be
so
the
funny.
giant. Yeah.
in Florida, there was a guy here that when they asked him what would he do if he won the lottery, he said cocaine and hookers.
Oh my god.
And I was like, well, I mean, at least he was being honest.
That's very true. I mean, there is something to be said for honesty. So, like, hey, I'm just gonna blow through all my money, guys. Like, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. So I mean, well, if I may give advice, if he's going to pay a porn star for sex, make sure he does it out of the right account.
Yeah, exactly.
The porn star or the hookers and cocaine reminded me. My aunt decided to join the KLRN radio chat
Yeah.
one time. And I don't know. I think it was Andrew was talking about hookers and blow, and my aunt actually asked Rick, was like, "What would you rather have, hookers or blow?" And
What about
like
that blood?
just joking around. I'm like, "Oh my god, what is even going on right now?"
Hey, let me just say this though. With either one of them, the hookers or the blow, you actually have a chance to make your money back with both of them. So,
It's an investment. It's an investment. Yeah. See,
sell
I
both.
like this. I like that. It's an investment.
If I say, I mean, you just like turn into a pimp or something. There you go. That's how you get your money back from the hookers. And then you just sell the blow or something. I mean, you're selling both products.
Did you
Products,
guys
quote
hear
unquote.
about?
I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Did you hear about Trump's new problems in his marriage?
no, but I bet this is going to be good.
Yeah, no, like
Yeah, what happened?
well, no, I mean, like with all the controversies lately that's been happening with him, especially with him being convicted. I mean, you you can say that his current marriage is a bit stormy.
Oh my god, that was such a bad dad joke, but it's so funny. Oh, I hate it and I love it at the same time.
Yeah, there was a few years back, I saw it on my Facebook memories or something where, like, I had screenshots of people talking about how, like, Bill Clinton was an adulterer and everything, and, they're all in for Trump, and I was like, y'all probably don't want to open that door.
Oh yeah. I mean, one
Oh
thing.
god.
I mean, if we're gonna give Trump any credit, I mean, at least he just admitted it.
Yeah.
At least he admitted that he was an adulterer, and still is probably. But Bill Clinton just denied it the entire time.
Yeah, I
That's the funny thing. That's the funny thing about like when it comes to Trump and stuff, I feel like people should have known that he'd end up being an adulterer because he's like 7 years old. His wife is like probably half his age. Like, there's probably gonna be some shady shit going on, but everybody's like acting surprised, like he's a millionaire or a billionaire, so like it all fits together. But everybody's like, oh, Trump, an adulterer? What is this? And I'm like, you guys need to chill.
I mean, he did. His. Trying to think how to word it. I mean, he got into a relationship with Melania, cheating on his other wife.
yeah, that was the second marriage that I think that
Ooh.
Melania is his third wife. So his second wife, he was sleeping with Melania at that point. But I mean, he cheated on his first wife too. So I'm like, okay, guys, there's a pattern of behavior here. So why are we making a big deal out of it about this?
but but my thing is, I'm not saying it's okay that he's an adulterer or anything like that by any means, but it's like, the dude, I mean, everybody's acting like it's this big, like, deal, and it's like, it's wrong, don't misunderstand me, God forbid I condemn that, but, or, allow that, but I'm saying that it's just, he's a millionaire, he's in his 70s, he can have any woman he wants, basically, or at least he could before, he decided to run for president, all that kind of stuff, like, it's just, I
Oh,
mean,
you know, he still has groupies.
Yeah.
yeah, like, my point is, these people, these millionaires and stuff, you see celebrities cheating all the time, you see it, and yet with Trump, it's this, oh my god, he's this, how dare he, blah, 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 it's like, oh, shut up.
But I say the left really has no business talking about this because all of them that are screeching to high heavens about it, they're guilty of some shady shit too. So
Well, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I remember what was funny about it is, like, I remember when they were impeaching Bill Clinton because of his relationship with Monica Lewinsky.
no, it wasn't the relationship that got him impeached. It was him lying under oath about it.
Yeah. And the thing is, what's funny
Oh, yeah,
about
he's
it,
like,
the whole thing, like, you had a bunch of Republicans that were saying, how can we possibly have a president that's an adulterer? And I'm like, bro, we know all of you are probably cheating on your wives. Like, he's just the one that got caught doing it.
No, he used an
it's so
intern.
funny to,
He used an intern as his personal humidor. I mean, that kind of. I mean, that's very, very bold for a president to do in office, but you got to keep in mind, he was young, he was attractive at the time, so he was like, hey, I'm powerful,
yeah,
so.
now Hillary Clinton has washed away any sense of, like, that's what people are like, oh, I voted for Bill Clinton, he was so handsome and blah, 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 and I look at the pictures of him now, I'm like, cause, that's all that I've known of him, and I'm like, what the
I
hell
mean,
did y'all see? Like,
Yeah.
well,
the
to
dude
me,
looks like, ugh.
well, I mean, I will say this. I give Bill Clinton more leeway than I do Trump when it comes to adultery because, I mean, with Bill Clinton, his wife is Hillary.
No, yeah.
Whereas with Trump,
Yeah,
whereas with Trump, his wives are literally supermodels and he's committing adultery on them.
but what's funny to me is that Bill Clinton, like, he chose Hillary. He could have divorced her at any time, though. And, I mean, I guess he didn't want to, because then he'd have to split his assets and all
But
that kind of
it was
crap.
not
And,
politically expedient for him to divorce her, so.
Well, you have to
yeah,
remember that possibly he'd
That
have to
was back
tell her,
when such things made a big difference. Yeah,
yeah,
it would have been.
well,
It would have been. That's one of the big differences we're dealing with now as compared to 30 years ago. It would have been super scandalous to go through such a thing, and it was considered, at least, I guess, how do we want to put it? Nominally, we paid at least enough lip service to the idea that our public servants ought to at least pretend in public and avoid the kind of brazen
But they still had to present a.
immorality and crossing of those lines in those moral borders. And what we're living in now is really kind of a large scale version of those were the rules you chose for us back then with Trump. Is that, now you almost can't make that case because back then we had people saying that they didn't care what he did so long as he kept abortion
Yeah.
legal. So
hey,
it's,
real quick,
they
my
rolled the
ADHD,
dice and now they're not happy that it came up on the no pass line.
my ADHD is kicking in. I gotta ask you something. Are you from, like, New Jersey or Boston or something like that? Because you have that very distinct accent to me. Or, like, at least a slight accent of, like, Boston, New Jersey.
New Jersey, yes. New Jersey
Can
from
hear
Long
it.
Island originally, so I've got nothing left of the. It's just all a hodgepodge. Unless I'm angry, then I sound like the nanny.
Just have to say I'm a fucking genius. I knew it. Okay. Alright, go ahead.
Now I'll give you your flowers on that. Good call.
yeah. And
Like,
I just
I was like,
always
this
find,
dude, like, this dude sounds like he's gonna yell
You're cutting out real bad, Zelda.
Can y'all hear me
Yeah.
now? But I think for some reason the host or the mic keeps turning on and off. But I was saying it sounds like your accent, Mike, sounds like you would yell out of your cab window about my Italian brother or Italian sister, or your Italian brother or Italian sister, and how, don't you dare even do it to me. I can't even do the accent, but yeah.
Come on, you got to be kidding me. Come on.
See, I didn't actually get like a very strong accent from you, Mike, or anything. But I have had people like Ordy tells me all the time, or he tells other people too all the time, that my voice is apparently like sweet tea for his soul.
Your
No, and
accent is
you,
very pretty. Your accent is very pretty.
you definitely sound like you are a proper Southern belle. Yes.
Yep.
And what's very funny is I told Rick, I was like, yeah, my accent compared to Laura's, like, I don't really have an accent compared to her. And he's like, I don't know, your accent is nice. And I'm like, yeah,
I never
you're full of.
realized that I had that thick of an accent until I started doing stuff like this, and everybody started telling me, "Oh my God, I love the way you talk."
Mm-hmm.
That's how,
That's
yes,
common.
I didn't
You know,
realize I had
you
an
don't
accent until,
around other people who speak
sorry, Mike,
differently.
repeat that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just saying that, oftentimes we don't notice our own accent until we're around other people who say, "You sound funny."
And that's the thing is like I didn't realize I had an accent either until I was on a Spaces with JR, and JR tells me, she's like, your accent, you have such an accent. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, your accent is adorable. And I'm like, what? Like, and then I listen to it back, like I listen to my voice or whatever, and I'm like, oh God, I have, like, I do have an accent. But it's not like yours, Laura. Yours is, okay. Rick, you and your Canadian, no, okay, let me explain. So Rick and I have a running joke that he sounds like he's from Canada, because he kind of does, like that Midwestern, or not Midwestern, but like upper Western Canadian style voice. And even one of my aunts asked me, like when she first heard his voice and I was first telling her about him, she asked me, or one of my aunts, she asked me, she's like, so is he foreign? I'm like, what? She's like, he's not from like the Middle East or something, is he? And I'm like, no, he's not foreign. It was so wild. I was like, what? No, he's not foreign. He just moved all over the country.
So where does Middle Eastern come from, though? I don't get that vibe at all.
I don't get that vibe either. I guess it's because of the age difference. Like, she assumed he's got to be I don't freaking know. I don't. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I hope he isn't Canadian, because at his age, that's when they're gonna start doing the whole, you know, seeing if he wants the whole Canadian healthcare.
Oh God, yeah. We joke all the time. He's actually part of the Canadian Intelligence Agency, and he's coming down here on spy work and all that kind of crap. Like, we've turned into a whole thing. So
It
I'm just
starts with all those pennies we can't tell apart. That's where they get you.
exactly, and that's the thing is like I'm pretty sure when he finally does meet my family next year or sometime like next year, he's gonna be like, yes, I'm actually Canadian and I've just come down here on a secret spy mission and blah blah blah, and just completely confuse the fuck out of my family. I'm already waiting on it.
That sounds like crap that I would do. Like, I would go in with just these wild stories about myself just to mess with somebody.
Yeah, he definitely, like, I have a feeling he's gonna try to mess with my family a little bit, and I've already told him, please don't do that, because they're already nervous as it is. Don't mess with them.
Just give them a heads up. They'll be fine.
Be like, yeah, so my boyfriend's a little bit he's from our out of the hood program. There's this video called Bon Quiqui, and it's an old video, like 2007 or something. And she works at like this fast food place, and they joke that she's from the out of the hood program. And that's what I'm gonna joke with my family. I'm gonna be like, he's from our out of the hood program. Don't worry about it.
I just love hearing people say that 2007 is old. That gives me a little grin.
I was only 9. Wait, 8 or 9, depending on the month. So it's old for me.
The before times, right?
Trying to think.
It was the ancient years.
2007, I would have been 20 then, I think.
Oh my God,
My
really?
brain's not wanting to do math right now. Yeah, because I graduated in '05.
You
I,
kids.
Yeah.
well, I mean, Laura, you're a woman, so of course your brain doesn't want to do math.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's good at it. I don't like it at all.
Well, I'm old. I don't remember math.
Yeah, I would invite Rick to speak, but he's currently doing stuff for his show to prep for juxtaposition. So if I asked him to speak, he probably would reject it anyways. I mean, I could, but so
I,
I'm just
I've sent a speaker invite to the other three, Danny, Rick, and VA Republic in there.
okay,
They,
good,
Well,
good.
and I appreciate being
Invite.
invited as well. I'm sorry if I have to cut out a lot because I do have a 10-year-old who will occasionally come barging into the room and ask questions or need something. And
I've got the
so,
Tiny Tyrant, and she does that sometimes too. So y'all may hear from
yep.
her at some point.
Ooh, Tiny
Well,
Tyrant.
I got invited and I'm like, oh, this is great. I'll say yes. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, I'm going to make my own country with blackjack and hookers and win the lottery. In fact, we're going to get the lottery in the country. I'm like, I'm going to wait for a minute before I say anything. Let me run upstairs for a moment.
Yeah,
Report to the battle bridge.
that's the whole space is called total fucking chaos, and that's exactly.
I mean, it's aptly named. It's aptly named. But yeah, that's what I always worry about. Like the Tiny Tyrant, I think she's pretty and she's so sweet, and I'm like, I don't want to ruin this child or any other child's innocence by just spewing off the mouth. So I'm just gonna, zip it and
Yeah,
I'm kind of terrified of meeting Rick's kids and his grandkids because I'm like, I'm gonna be a bad influence. I'm gonna slip up and be like, yelling at somebody or saying something and then just start spewing a bunch of words and he's gonna be like, you can't say that, and then I'm gonna be like, ugh.
well, they're going to
I'm
be
just,
your future. They're going to be your future grandkids as well.
that's what blows my mind is like, by the time I'm like 35, which is like Laura's age, I could be a grandmother. And I'm like, that's kind of shocking.
I mean, I'm a
Rick,
granduncle now.
I think Rick he's closer to Daniel's age, isn't he?
Damn, that's old.
He's 51.
Oh, okay, so he's actually 4 years older than Daniel. So
Mhm.
Daniel will be 47 here in October.
Yeah, I'm
Daniel's the
28.
same.
I'm already a granduncle.
Daniel's the same age as my dad and my mom, so that's really cool actually.
Yeah, he's 10
Wait, no, my
to me.
and then my mom is 2 years
God,
younger. Okay.
I got holes in my underwear older than you. God.
I'm gonna be 26 next Friday, which again, I'm gonna say it again. There's gonna be a roast that happens next Friday. I've got to air out the details with Rick, but there's gonna be a nice roast that happens where everybody can come in, tell me jokes, make me laugh, roast me, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be a whole thing because my birthday is next Friday. So
See, we're about a month.
Many happy returns in all seriousness.
Well, we're a little less than a month apart, I think, because I'm July 11th.
yeah, a little less than a month apart because mine is June 14th.
Yeah.
Mine's August 11th.
See, the Tiny Tyrant is August 9th.
Sweet.
My mom's is August the 15th, so we all had like,
You missed me. I'm September.
you're September?
Mm,
I was supposed to be born in September 7th, but, God decided, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna have you make a grand entrance, and then just like, scare everybody, and you'd be like, wah ha ha, this is how I was born, so I was born about 3 months early.
yeah. That's no joke at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, modern science being what it is, even so, that's
That's still a pretty big gap there in the
a
dude
big jump.
birth.
That is a big jump.
I mean, it definitely, I mean, it was 1998, so I had a good chance of survival, but at the same time, it's still like, 3 months early is a long time to be born early.
Yeah.
And, I also had like heart issues, I had lung issues, so they were calling a code blue and all kinds of stuff. Like, it was wild. And then just to know, and my mom was only 19, so imagine, a 19-year-old being told, like, she's got to be emergency cut open, and then,
Yeah.
like, kid is
Oh, it's terrifying.
gonna go through this. Like, it was terrifying for her, and she's talked about that before.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. I had just turned 22 when I had the tiny tyrant, and even then it was still it was scary.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, yeah, they had to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say. I'm a July 12th baby, so right in the range here with the
Hey,
rest of us.
we're next on the 11th.
Yep. But no, I know my mom had a little bit of a different experience because I was actually the second C-section baby, but it was one where she said, "Oh yeah, childbirth was great because I just made the appointment. I showed up. They loaded me up with drugs. Next thing I know, I woke up with a baby. It's awesome."
But that's the thing, like, with my mom, is my youngest brother and youngest sister were born through regular C-section, and everything was fine with them. But, like, with me, it was, I mean, it was terrifying for her because, she's expecting to have a perfectly healthy baby, all this kind of stuff, and, she ends up, like, they're having to load her up with drugs, having to, not only do they have to, cut her open and all that kind of stuff, but they have to send me to a different hospital. Like, my mom was at one hospital, they had to fly me to another because I was having, like, cardiopulmonary issues, and so my mom's not able to hold me yet, she's freaking out. So they were like, I don't know how long or how many days we were apart, but she finally got to hold me through an incubator and all that kind of stuff, and, like, it was just, it's wild to think about, like, and luckily I don't have nearly the kind of issues like that was expected of me. Like, the doctors even said, like, she may, not be able to walk, and she may, depending on the severity of things, she may not be able to, do for herself and things like that. So it's a lot better than expected. But I mean, just to think that that's almost 26 years ago is like, holy crap.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. I think that's one thing that I've learned since I've started treating patients is there's a lot of hubris that goes into medicine where we think we know more than we do, and we continue to be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, that's
My
really, like,
Oh,
something
sorry. Go ahead, Laura.
I'm like, when I talk to people about, like, oh, my child was given a fatal diagnosis. We've seen so many cases where it turns out the doctors, like, misdiagnosed the baby, and they were perfectly fine.
Exactly, and that's the thing with me is, like, my mom says that because she's a doctor now, she's a doctor of nurse practitioning, so she's a doctor, she deals with anesthesia, all that kind of crap, but she tells me, she's like, the reason the doctors had to, is as painful as it was to hear, especially at 19, hearing that, there was a code blue going on and you had to be flied and all this kind of stuff. She told me, she said at the same time, the good thing about that was that it kind of prepared us. It kind of, I mean, it didn't really prepare us, but at the same time, it was like, okay, this is a possible outcome, that kind of thing. Because if they tell you a better outcome and then something bad happens, people want to say, like, why didn't you tell us what could have happened, blah, blah, blah. But if they tell you the worst possible outcome and then something good happens, it's like, okay, we've covered our bases kind of thing.
Right.
But you were steeled for the worst.
Miko, will you stop licking my armpit?
My mom, is that your dog?
Oh, shit, I thought I had my mic muted.
I didn't know, for some reason I was like, is that the tiny tyrant? Like, that would be so
No, Miko, he was eating his food and he jumped up on the bed and started, like, trying to lick my armpit.
Dogs.
But, um, But yeah, my family was fully like, they were terrified, but they were also like, okay, this could end up very badly for her, that kind of thing. Like, and for my mom even, because my mom was bleeding out, so it was a huge thing. Like, so, but my family was steeled at the same time. They were like, okay, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, but luckily things turned out okay. And I've even actually done better than doctors, I think, expected me to, because they were like, she may not be able to walk, she may have this issue or this issue, and honestly, like, I'm able to walk on my own, I'm able to do most things that other people can do, so I can't really complain too much.
I say that's kind of miraculous too. I mean, just that, like, yeah, God can work miracles. I know you've still got your issues and everything health wise, but it could
Yeah.
be so much worse.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Sorry,
I
go ahead,
also,
Brad.
yeah, I also sent you a retweet now, Zelda.
Oh God, hold on. But yeah, the thing is, like, the thing is, like, the the it's miraculous. Like, there are definitely times when I complain and all that. People are like, "Oh, you're so strong. You're so." I'm like, "No, I'm not," because I complain plenty, and I'm like, especially dealing with my mental health issues. I'm like, ugh, I have those really low days, blah blah blah. But at the same time, it's like, I really did get a good end of the stick, because a lot of people, I think it's like 2/3 of people with CP, which is the physical condition, one of the physical conditions I have. 2/3 of people with these conditions have, like, have at least mild intellectual disabilities, and I don't have any intellectual disabilities. I don't
Yeah,
have any. I've been in advanced classes. I've been in regular classes. I'm currently almost done with my bachelor degrees. I'm
You're
strongly
bilingual,
considering. Hmm?
right? You're bilingual, as I understand.
Yes, I am. I consider myself bilingual, but I'm hesitant to use that because I'm not, like, fluent. I can hold up a
Hmm.
decent conversation, but, in French, but, yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot that I've done and that I've achieved that, like, a lot of people with the conditions that I have, that I'm like, yeah, I could have it way worse. Like, as much as things are difficult, and, I have my low days, I'm like, I'm able to walk, I'm able to talk, there are people with CP that are blind, that are deaf, that, that they have, like, they have to have, like, they have severe seizures, things like that. So it's like, I can't complain too much.
Yeah. That's one.
So you're not linguist.
I was gonna say too that Zelda,
Ew,
in terms of,
Brad,
I was gonna say, in terms of what you're going through
Brad.
too, is I think that one, there's nothing to be worried about in terms of just the power of prayer. Like, that's one of those things that for people who are in difficult medical situations, I even recommend to patients who
Oh
are
yeah.
religious. It holds tremendous value. And then also, too, in terms of, I know you saying, like, you can't complain because you're doing well with all these things. I always like to refer back to the Eagle song, Life's Been Good, where they say, I can't complain, but sometimes I still do. It's
yeah,
great words of
Yeah.
wisdom.
And that's the thing, is like, you were talking about the power of prayer and that kind of thing, and I'm not going completely religious, but I do think this kind of fits the theme of, like, crazy stories and, interesting facts. Is the day that I was born, there was an angel that literally came and prayed with some of my family, and they know it was an angel because it was just a guy that came up to them and was like, I know everything's gonna be okay, but can I pray with y'all anyway? And they're like, okay, so they kind of stand around, they pray, all that kind of stuff, and then there's like, I don't know if it's, like, just exit only, or if it wasn't, or if the doors were completely locked, or whatever it was, but or entrance only, but he leads through these double doors, and everybody's like, okay, or one of my family members goes up to the front desk and is like, okay, we would like to thank this man for, like, praying with us, and, knowing that our family member is going to be okay, that her mom is going to be okay, all this kind of stuff. And the lady's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, well, there was a man that was just here with us, praying with us. She said, no, nobody's come out. And this was right next to the receptionist desk. So she would have been able to have seen this guy if he had, if it was just a regular guy. And they were like, the receptionist goes, no, there was nobody that was here. Like, you can't go through those doors. And so my family was like, they just knew, like, holy crap, this is huge. So.
Yeah, I love stories like that. Like, I do not discount, angelic visits or anything like that. Like, I think that God does that for us sometimes just to give us that extra comfort and everything. But then on the flip
Yeah.
side of that, that's why I tell people too, like, I don't believe in ghosts at all. I do, like, Bible flat out says to be absent in the body is to be present with the Lord. So our spirits don't hang out down here once we're gone.
Oh
So
yeah, I feel the same way.
I think 99% of like all these like hauntings and everything are demonic.
So,
So what you're saying is you're not afraid of no ghost.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I don't think ghosts exist. Like, one of the craziest things I've ever experienced in my life, and it's when I stopped messing around with stuff like this, because I have a cousin named Brian who has always been very big into the ghost hunting. I mean, and he went, when I was probably 17 or 18, he had bought like all this equipment and everything. And we decided, because my brother and I used to actually hear voices coming from the vents in our bedroom. And
uh,
so my cousin and I, we decided, okay, well, we're going to set up a tape recorder down in the basement. So we set it on top of the hood of my mom's car down there, and we just let the thing run all night. So we get back to it in the morning, we start replaying it, and it's like dead silence till probably about 3/4 of the way through the tape. Just nothing at all. Until finally, clear as a fucking bell, there's a man's voice that says, "Tell Joyce I'm sorry." And Joyce was the name of my grandmother, who was viciously beaten all the time by her husband, my grandfather, who was in the KKK. There are photos of him during the Birmingham Civil Rights Movement. It's like he's one of the men with the dogs or the fire hoses. I can't remember which, but he's in
uh,
those photos. Like, he raped his daughters well until their teenage years. I mean, my Aunt Judy is a lesbian now because she is deathly terrified of men. But
right.
that voice saying, "Tell Joyce I'm sorry," I shut it off. I said, "Nope, we're not messing with this anymore. Get it out of my house."
Yeah.
so,
That's oof.
so that's
Um,
one thing I will say in terms of biblical evidence is that the few times they talk about witches in the Bible, they also reference, them talking to spirits. So personally, I don't entirely rule out some form of communication with the dead, but I like to refer back to the whole idea of there being more between heaven and earth than man's imagination can comprehend.
Oh yeah,
At the
absolutely.
same time, 99% of the times, if you're trying to communicate with another world, you're going to get a demon.
Yeah, this is why, like, every time I've had multiple opportunities through my life, I have never once, like, played around with a Ouija board or anything. And
Oh
I've
no.
never allowed them in any of the houses we've ever lived in either.
Yeah. Oh, and Zelda, did you get that tweet I sent you?
yes, I did. I was about to comment on it. How fucking dare you? Oh my god. No. The
What
only
happened?
I'm tempted on sending it to Rick and being like, hey, look, it's Joe Biden. This is actually what I look like. But oh my god, that's terrifying.
Oh, so he did the Joe Biden face? I'm gonna have to go look that up.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
I
no.
went.
I'm retweeting it now, but oh my god, no. Oh, the makeup and oh, why is his face so, oh no. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, it fits too well, cause, Joe Biden, he's got that slightly orangish face or whatever compared to my complexion, so it looks like I'm wearing makeup, or his face is wearing makeup on my face, and it just, oh, what the hell.
You remember in The Simpsons they had like one of those newspaper clippings where it said "old man yelling at the sky"?
God, yeah.
Yes, yes, I absolutely remember
Joe
that one. I
Biden.
use that all the time for people.
Yeah, I actually made a funny like when Joe Biden and Trump debated the last time. I I made the response where I just put like two of those clippings together, and I just said, two old men yelling at the sky.
Well, that's pretty much all he ever does these days.
I just thought it was so, Zelda had to give me the idea, so I had to use it.
I didn't mean to give you that idea. I was like, hey, at least he didn't do this. And you were like, I'm gonna fucking run with it. And I'm like, oh no.
All I know is that I'm still a fan of the idea of drug testing before the debates. That'd be hilarious.
Well, to be quite frank, I wish Biden would start like doing some of Hunter's drugs. Maybe then he'll be more awake.
I was about to say the cocaine might perk him up a little bit.
There's plenty of options for
Okay.
that. I mean, we got a whole range of them.
Joe Kane. Joe Kane.
Like
Could be a new campaign slogan.
the drug testing before a debate is a good idea, but I would not disqualify anybody. Like, oh God, what was his name? That guy that ran. I think he was running in 2016, but he was like stoned all of the time. Like I
Goals.
remember him sticking his tongue out at a reporter and all this other stuff, and I was like, "Oh my God, this dude is nuts," and I kind of love him.
I
He's
mean,
not that kind of
He was a libertarian candidate, and yes, he was big on legalizing weed and all that. But
Yeah.
we had no
was
idea. He started off in the campaigns great, like he was coherent,
I
like,
think it was Gary Johnson,
and then
libertarian.
slowly you just start seeing him get higher and higher and higher for like everything. And you're like watching this man, like it's like Cheech and Chong was running for president or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure it
Yeah.
was
was a
about to
libertarian.
say
I think it was Gary Johnson, but I'm not sure.
That's who it
it,
was, yes.
Gary Johnson. Yes,
Oh my God, that's fantastic. That
The
is so
video of
freaking
him on
funny.
that bench
Yeah.
outside where like he sticks his tongue out at that reporter. I swear to God, I watched that thing like a billion times.
I mean, otherwise, if you ever need a political laugh, just look back at the primary nominations for New Hampshire, going all the way back to the 80s with Ronald Reagan. Was Vermin Supreme showing up, boot on his head, just spouting all kinds of nonsense.
Oh,
Gives a laugh every
I was about
time.
to say, I love that guy.
Yeah, well, promises to give everyone a free pony.
Hey, that free pony and the mandatory toothbrushing police, that's all you need.
Oh my God. Like, the wildness of it all. Like, that's the part of politics I love, though, is the stupid crap that goes on that you're like, what even is this? Like, the serious parts, yeah, that's fun to get into sometimes, but, like, it's the wild shit that I'm like, the memeable shit that I'm like, that's my jam.
The absurdities, yeah.
Yeah, that's what made me laugh with Rick is I normally don't really get into politics much in like, or in the Chat Lives Matter DM group that I'm a part of, um, but they were saying something about like Ron DeSantis versus Trump at the time, and I threw out something, and he was like, that's so astute, and I'm like, you act like you're surprised here, like, I can have those moments of being intelligent, I just choose not to use them.
See, I always tell Daniel, especially if I'm not very like witty, like in person or something. Like I'm not very quick with like little comebacks and stuff. So every now and then when I get one that makes Daniel laugh, I'm like, see, I'm funny sometimes.
Write that
Yes,
down.
that's
Did anyone
exactly
hear
me.
it? Did anyone notice?
That's exactly me because like how do I put it? Like I'm not as quick as I am like online that I am in person because I don't have time to think of whatever I want to say. But like I do have those moments where people are like, "Damn, you actually," and I'm like, "Hey, see, I can be intelligent. I can be witty. I can." It's rare because my brain jumps from squirrel to freaking apple to freaking because my ADHD. Like, that's like, I'll be talking to Rick on the phone, and he'll be talking about something. I'm like, wait. And then I'll go on to this random subject, and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, woman?
Well, you gotta,
It's called ADHD.
speaking from personal experience, it sometimes helps to lean into those moments as long as you pick your spots, because you can make connections that way that might not have been immediately available to other people's brains, and they pick up on it, and it gives them something to think about when it's done well.
That's the thing, is like, that's what people always told me growing up, is they'd be like, you're so random, like, that was such a random thought, and I'm like, no, it made sense in my brain, it just didn't make sense to y'all.
Yeah.
But I had my mic muted because the Tiny Tyrant was in here talking. She wants to say hey.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Tiny Tyrant.
That's how everybody knows you.
Yeah, that's me.
You're not so tiny anymore, though.
No, so
She's-
really uncomfortable.
She's dang near as tall as I am now.
That's not saying much.
Well, I'm 5'7", so that's, I think, taller than average for a woman.
That's fair. I'm 5'11".
You're just gonna stand here and stare at me and
Eat my popsicle. Yeah.
I'm 5'5".
Everyone's Abby looks the same height to me. I don't know.
But what's so funny is, like, if you're 5'7" and she's almost as tall as you are, she's probably gonna surpass you by the time she stops growing.
yeah, I think so. I mean, like her bio dad was actually over 6 feet, so.
All I know is that
Imagine if she
anyone
hits over
who's shorter than me is clearly short, and anyone who's taller than me is clearly tall. I'm clearly the perfect measure of height.
See, I always decide to make people feel bad when they're like, oh, you're short. I'm like, oh, it's okay, I was premature, I was 3 months early. Whereas Rick doesn't give a shit. He's like, I'm premature too, or I was premature too, so you're really short. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. And what's funny also about you, Zelda, is that, remember, as you get older, you get shorter. So by the time you hit your 50s, you'll be an official midget.
Oh God, I'll be the grandma midget of the village.
If I were you, I would just tell people, like, yeah, I'm short. That means I'm closer to the underworld, so be careful.
She can also hide in a FedEx box, so she's easy to ship.
Yeah.
I was just going to say to get one of
Chloe.
those inversion tables so that way you can stretch out your spine again. I mean, that's all you really need.
And
What makes me
thing, they used to send children through the mail all the time, so
what I joke about
for some money on traveling to see Rick.
Yeah, exactly. What I joke about is it's not my fault I reached perfection first. I mean, it's okay. So to be serious, it didn't bother me. The short jokes are actually hilarious because, like, there's a running theme on KLRN that I'm the refrigerator imp, that Rick is gonna make me a shirt that says, like, the logo of the website on the front, and then, like the refrigerator imp on the back, just for me, just so that I can wear it around and people see that I'm the refrigerator imp of the radio station, which is going to be so funny.
And for anybody that doesn't know what that means, it's just whenever she gets mad, he's just going to, like, set her down on top of the refrigerator.
Yes, I forgot about that. I have to explain that. So yeah, whenever I get mad or when I spiral out, as he calls it, like when I get really anxious or something, he always tells me, I'm going to sit you on top of the refrigerator. And so then I'm too busy laughing or too busy imagining myself on top of the refrigerator to be pissed off or to be, like, spiraling.
Seems legit.
So.
I thought they were teasing you for being unable to reach the top of the refrigerator.
Oh no. It's the fact that him and our friend Andrew constantly joke about putting me on top of the refrigerator because I'm so short, and it's just become a running thing at this point.
Well, she can't.
Yeah, it's always just like a calm down thing. Like, if she gets upset or, over anxious about something, okay, you go on top of the refrigerator until you calm down.
Well, she can't put herself on top of the
They're
fridge.
gonna put me. Yeah, thank you, Fluby. They tell me they're like, we're gonna put you on top of the refrigerator in your timeout, and I'm like, I'm an adult, I don't need timeout. They're like, it doesn't matter, you need a timeout.
Yeah. I'm just saying, well, I mean, on the bright side with you being so short, that means whenever Christmas comes around, you're always going to have a job.
Yeah.
Oh my, thank
You're
you.
the
Yes,
automatic elf on the
that's why I need to. That's why I need to meet Daniel, because Daniel's Santa, and then I can be the elf that Santa, like, that Santa delivers the toys for, or that delivers the toys for Santa.
And Laura can be Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, I always say that she's like a member of Evanescence, that she's the Evanescence, like, she's the secret member of Evanescence, that, like, cause she's got that kind of rock, kind of nerdy vibe, but, like, it works, it really works, like that 2000s vibe, and, like, I'm like, it's great. I always tell her, I'm like, I didn't know Santa's, wife was, like, a secret member of Evanescence.
Yeah, I do have a Mrs. Claus outfit, but it's for Daniel's eyes only, so
Mm.
I don't know. I may have to invest in something else.
I
Oh, God.
I'm straight to the Island of Misfit Toys, so you all have your fun. Nobody loves a Charlie in the box.
Oh my God.
That
That
is the
movie,
best thing I've ever heard.
I know what you're talking about because I grew up on that movie, and holy crap, I feel like I remember watching that when I was little all the time. It's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer,
Yep.
right? I'm
The
proud of myself.
original. And I don't know, children's
That
sensibilities,
movie
I
is
guess, were
surprisingly
just
dark.
different. Yeah, it is. It's brutal. I mean, let's all sing for Santa. It needs work, and he bails out. I mean, he's rude as heck. And man, I mean, Yukon Cornelius is the only, decent fellow. The whole thing. If it wasn't for him, the whole thing would be kind of horrifying, actually. Him looking for his peppermint mines. It's my favorite.
I'm trying to remember the dang song from that one. Something I'm not just a nitwit.
Yep.
We're a couple of misfits.
I'm not just a nitwit. Oh my God, that can't be a real
It
part of
really
it.
is.
It is. Yeah, I think it's Rudolph singing that line of it, but it's why am I such a misfit? I am not just a nitwit.
It's him and the elf who wants to be a dentist. Hermie.
Hermie.
Yes.
That's so fantastic. Like, movies like that are just so, they're great.
They just they told it they told it the way it was, man. It was, and if you look back, a lot of the early versions of fairy tales were kind of spoiled by the Disneyfication of some of these. Although even then, Disney was not afraid to go hard early on. Like some of the most terrifying stuff I've ever seen was like Pinocchio, and then the
Oh yeah.
Island and all that. But that was a trip, I'm telling you. But the originals on some of these things, like Hans Christian Andersen and the Grimm brothers, they
Yeah.
stay in school, kids, because otherwise you might be eaten by a witch in her gingerbread house, or you might be made to dance repeatedly in red hot shoes until you fall over dead, or you'll become foam on the seashore because
Yeah.
or
That's
there's a million horrible things going on. It was just terrifying living in fairy tale land.
Yeah, I've
that's what
actually got a book of all the originals, and I remember the Tiny Tyrant as she got older, telling her Cinderella's sisters to try to fit into the glass slipper, they cut their own toes off.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my God, no!
They
Or
No!
absolutely. And there weren't
But
any
that's the thing
adorable
Y'all
that
can
drives
singing
me
see,
crazy.
mice and birds either.
yeah, y'all can see how like all the original fairy tales would definitely appeal to me.
yeah,
That's what drives me crazy about, like, Beauty and the Beast. Everybody's like, Beauty and the Beast is like a bestiality story. I'm like, no, it's a sweet story about loving, like, and then of course there's Laura's version of the fairy tales, the original versions that are like grim and gore apparently,
That one
which
was
is,
Stockholm syndrome.
Yep.
Like
it's not
Beauty and the
Stockholm
Beast is
syndrome.
my favorite one. But yeah, that's 100% Stockholm syndrome.
Listen, it is not. It's like, it's about, no,
Belle
It's
is
I
held
about
can't.
there
her
against her
magic.
will. She is
Yeah, she
a
was held
prisoner.
against her will. She was not allowed to leave until, like, she finally fell in love with him and he fell in love with her too. So that's when he finally did decide to let her leave so she could go after her dad and take care of him. But yeah, 100%. She was not permitted to leave.
I know, but that's not.
Well,
I
just think of the, well,
good.
yeah.
It's being
Well,
rude.
just well, let's just think about the moral of the story. If you kidnap a woman and put her in your library, she'll eventually come to love you.
Hey,
That's not the
hey,
moral.
if you've
I
got, if
gotta
you
get a
got a
No.
library
library.
like that, if you got a library like that, I'm
Well, you
already
all,
like well on my way to falling in love with you.
you might
So
as well. You might also have to save her from a pack of ravenous wolves in the dark. But details.
What the hell?
You know what's funny about the Beauty and the Beast story is that, like, the design and stuff for the Beast is also, like in the original tale, it's actually based off a real person.
that baby.
Really?
Is it really? I knew it
Yeah,
was based on, like, the cartoon one was based off of like a hodgepodge of different animals, basically.
Yeah.
yeah.
Beauty and the Beast.
But the original was based off a real man. Like, this man had a condition, like, where, like, I think this was the Middle Ages, where he had a condition where hair grew all over his body.
Oh, I know
On his,
exactly what the condition you're talking about, but now I can't remember the name of it.
it's like a werewolf condition,
Yeah.
Hirsutism, I believe.
where, yeah, and basically he had hair all over his body, all over his face and everything, and people would refer to him as like a monster, and he ended up getting married to this beautiful woman, and they called it like Beauty and the Beast, with him and this beautiful woman's relationship.
Well, hey, that
And
goes to show that
that's
there's
one of the
somebody out
biggest,
there for everyone. I mean, even if you are a big beast man.
Hmm?
yeah.
Then again, I can't really say much because Daniel is fairly hairy. I mean, not like that, not like Robin Williams even, but
Gosh.
hey, Robin Williams, like, I was just watching my favorite movie,
Oh yeah.
like, last night or night before. And yeah, I mean, like, he goes to, like, grab his wife's hand and everything, and you see all the hair on the back of his hands and knuckles.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why didn't they just shave him for these roles or something? Like, trim it all back.
Well, also, what's funny is, like, it's funny knowing that nowadays a movie like Mrs. Doubtfire could not be made.
I would be made, but they'd accuse Robin Williams of being like a trans person or something.
Or
Or they would say he
Well,
was
no
appropriating
one would.
their culture
Yeah, no
or
one would be
something.
allowed to
Oh yeah.
question his presence anywhere. And
Yeah.
and the judge wouldn't take his kids from him. He'd be stunning
I
and
was going to
brave.
say the people in his
Sally
favor.
Fields would be screwed.
yeah.
Be over.
Well, yeah, in fact, like, probably what would happen is, like, they say, wait a minute, this guy is a trans person? Oh, give him the kids.
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, that's how backwards we've gotten. Like, back then, when that movie was made, this was just a dad who loved his kids and was doing anything he could to just stay in their lives every
Right.
day.
Unfortunately,
Like,
that part of the justice system hasn't changed.
right?
Guys are still getting the short end of that most often.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I remember on Facebook, I actually had posted something about this where, like, this woman had lied to this man that she was dating about her ex-husband, I think,
Mm-hmm.
where basically she was saying how this guy was abusive and that's why she was taking his kids away from him and everything. And the guy found out that, like, that the new guy that she was with found out that it was a complete lie and that the guy was desperately trying to, to be with his
Yeah.
children, and she was alienating the kids from him.
See, I cannot
And
stand women like that. Like, do not poison your children just because you're bitter about something.
yeah, and
Yeah.
eventually what happened was is that the new guy broke up with her, and he actually testified in a case against her on the
Right.
guy's, the father's side.
Well, good.
That's
Chad news.
wild.
Yeah,
And that's good, but it's wild.
yeah. I mean, that stuff has to happen more often. In my opinion, that stuff needs to be happening more often. Guys need to be starting to take up for each other on that end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they're genuinely like trying to be a part of their kid's life and like they are being good fathers, like yeah, absolutely stand up, make yourself heard. Like I'll side with you all day. Like
Yeah,
with my case, like I never had to lie about my ex or anything because he was just an objectively horrible human being.
Yeah, I've seen the receipts. Your ex was wild. At
Yeah,
least his girl.
it's
I know
nuts.
that his girlfriend was.
Yeah, for those of y'all that don't know, my ex was seeing this girl who had she probably still does, has a severe drinking problem to the point that she would get blackout drunk. And then one night at a bar, she started to chase her own son around the bar, who is roughly the Tiny Tyrant's age, like barely a year older, chasing him around the bar, trying to attack him. So my ex takes the kids out, gets them back home and everything. She finally comes home 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, starts it all up again at home. So the kids actually climb out a bedroom window and go and lock themselves in my ex's truck, where she is now proceeding to try and break the windows in the truck to get to the children. Well, after this, you would think that would be enough for him to just say, okay, this woman's batshit crazy. I gotta get out. No, he decided, oh my God, I gotta put a ring on it. So he fucking proposes to her.
That's some Alabama
yeah.
stuff right
But
there.
Well, I
Yeah.
why
mean,
though?
I
well,
don't
I'm
know.
I just,
My only guess is this woman could probably suck the chrome off a trailer hitch.
maybe,
Oh my God, Laura,
or
no.
he's just craving the kind of
I could
excitement that
have,
a
okay.
sane person can't give him. I mean, some people like to go on the roller
Oh,
coaster not strapped in, I guess.
and the thing is, it gets worse. This whole story gets worse.
it,
Like, she
it,
does this
Yeah, it does.
again around New Year's. And
yeah,
then a third time. And the third time is where it gets really crazy. But the kids, thank God, were not around this time because she barricades herself in a bathroom in the house and starts shooting outside the window at police.
that's lovely.
Yeah.
She sounds like a peach.
Uh,
Lovely.
Just all the jail, all of it.
Now, going back to like my little crack about the trailer hitch and everything, I could have gone with a more vulgar one, which is when I say that she probably could have sucked a golf ball through a garden hose.
Yes, Rick had to explain that to me because I had no idea what that meant because I've never even heard that from my parents, from anybody, in my life, that kind of thing. So they were talking at one point and they were like, yeah, you could probably suck a golf ball through a garden hose or something like that. And I was like, what is that? What? And
You're
Rick
so
had to explain
innocent,
it
and I
to me.
kind of love it. Like
Rick had
yeah,
to
I feel
explain it to
bad
me.
for
To
this,
be
I feel
fair,
bad for destroying your
to
innocence.
be fair, I'd be more concerned if you said your parents did explain that one to you. So,
Well, no, I've got like an aunt that kind of that'll spill the beans to me and all that kind of stuff. And I asked her about that phrase. I was like, "Have you ever heard this?" And she wouldn't lie to me. She's like, "No, I've never heard that before in my life. We always just said you give good head." I was like, "Dang!"
Hey, this is
No,
where
I
a
was like,
lifetime of
"Oh my
hockey
God."
has spoiled me in bad ways because I know a lot of those terms.
I was about to say I just always heard this around, like even from family members. So I just thought that was kind of a normal phrase.
yeah,
No, not for me. I've been very sheltered, I
All
guess.
of us that would grow up
Okay,
singing the
I
lyrics
was
to
about
these
to say, I
absolutely
just went to
terrible
public middle
songs and
school.
not, and then as an adult you'd be like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing for 20
That's like
years? I
that's
sang
like
that
the
in front of my
lyrics. That's like the
grandmother. Oh my God.
That's like the lyrics to I'm in love. There's a song, it's like, I'm in love with the stripper. And as a kid growing up, me and my innocent brain, I misheard it as skipper. And so I would be singing along. My brother is in the front seat. He's like, you do realize it's I'm in love with the. And then my mom quickly stops and was like, no, 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 just let her sing it the way she's singing.
I absolutely love that. That's like one of the worst songs you could come up with because I knew every word to Ludacris's "Fantasy" when I was about 12.
I
I've
just
never
had
heard
that
that
moment
song.
the
you
other
all.
day.
Oh my God, you are going to hear it tonight.
Oh, and
See,
you also
Oh
knew
God.
Jeffrey Dahmer's address.
I
Do what?
You also knew Jeffrey Dahmer's address at the same time.
No, I actually
Oh
knew
yeah.
Dahmer's address when I was 9.
I was about to say,
Ah,
I'd like to point out too, Zelda here, that like all these things you're referencing, I recognize, and I'm only like a year and a half older than you, close to 2 years older than you, but you know.
Okay, so I'm a little sheltered. We're not gonna rip on me for that. I can't help it. I was raised by very like old school traditional Christian Southern women. So
Oh,
See,
I was too, and I'm about to actually drop the link to the YouTube song
see,
for you to listen to later. Because my mother like willingly bought these CDs for me when I was a child, and she she had to know because I would go around singing them and playing them all the time.
yeah, see, I just blame it on the fact I went to public school for middle school, so.
I mean, I went to public school all of like my life and stuff, but oh my god, like I'm a
Sorry.
little scared to listen to this song. If Laura's like it's dirty, I'm gonna be
It,
like,
yeah, it's dirty, and I was singing along to every single word of this by the time I was like 11 or 12 years old.
hold on, let me look up the lyrics. I'm not gonna
Oh
Yeah,
listen to
God.
the video because I'm gonna look up the lyrics.
if you ever want to have a fun,
I want y'all to hear my
Wait a
reaction
minute.
to this.
hey,
Well,
if you
but
ever
This
that's
is
want to
gonna
have,
be like
that's smart
this is gonna be
because sometimes, like for example,
bad.
a friend of, back in the a million years ago by YouTube
Oh, this
standards,
song, I know this song.
Yes, I told you know the
Oh
like
song.
no.
yeah,
yeah,
Wait, I want to get it in the Georgia Dome on the 50-yard line when the Dirty Birds kick. What?
Yeah.
hey,
What? Look! Oh
if it
my
ever, if it
god!
makes you,
I didn't
if it
realize.
makes you feel better, just look up the translated lyrics for the Macarena sometime, and keep in
yeah.
mind that kindergartners sing and dance to that song.
Yeah. That one's pretty
Oh
bad.
my
Phone number
god!
5.
Wait,
God.
that man Ludacris in the public bathroom or in the back of a classroom? What the fuck? No,
Yeah.
I didn't realize this. All I know is like the chorus or whatever.
Well,
Oh my
here,
god!
Mike,
What was it? Rough sex in the dirt, in the garden, all in the
Mike,
dirt.
were you talking about Mambo number
Oh my
5?
god!
yes,
Oh, I
Great
love
song
that
too.
song.
yeah, but occasionally, you're like, oh, this is so cute, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. I had a similar
After
experience with when you're especially like some of the old school harder edge hip hop stuff from like the 80s and stuff.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
like here, Sir Mix-a-Lot. Obviously,
Oh yeah,
it's not a
classic.
nice thing, but until I came across the admittedly brilliant Gilbert and Sullivan-ized version of it on YouTube, where someone took all sorts of visuals to the Pirates of Penzance and sang Sir Mix-a-Lot's song to that with the First of all, it's absolutely hilarious how they did it. It's really well done. But second of all, when you actually hear the song sung in that style, the lyrics are absolutely filthy. And you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is the funniest thing ever, and I can't share it with anyone. I have to burn my phone. That's gonna go away.
There's a guy, Dan something. I can't ever pronounce his last name, but I have a lot of his covers on Spotify,
Mm-hmm.
and he does a version of Get Low, an acoustic version of this song, and like okay, we were dancing in middle school and high school at, the school dances to this song. And then you hear it slowed down like that with acoustic guitar and like actual melody to it. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yep.
See,
like, why were people letting me?
Get low.
see, I can't complain too much there though, Zelda, because I know like when I was growing up, I listened to all the music my parents listened to. So if the band didn't exist between the 60s and the 80s, they just didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I was like, about to enter ninth grade when I was listening to the J. Giles song,
Centerfold.
Centerfold,
Mm-hmm.
and I was singing along to him, and I was like, you know what this song is about, right? And then all of a sudden it just clicked, and I was like, oh geez.
Yep. Oh, there are dozens of them from the 70s and 80s, and that's that I'm Gen X, so yeah, that's you're piping along in your little elementary school voice to all this stuff that the teachers are probably like, Serenity now, Serenity.
A song,
My goodness.
a song that I didn't know the meaning to originally, but when I realized that the meaning of it, like when I found out the actual meaning of it, I said, "Oh, it's a lot more dirtier than I thought it was." It's Flow Rider's
Oh
Whistle.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, see, I picked that
Oh
one
Yeah.
my
up right
god,
away.
yeah. Oh my. I always thought it was just about a whistle whenever I first heard it, but everybody said like, "Oh, it's so dirty," and then I thought about it and I was like, "Oh wait, I know what this is about."
Oh,
That was exactly my
okay, I'm going to
experience.
betray my ignorance a little bit here. Did you say Flo Rida, the artist? Okay,
Yeah.
Yes,
all right,
Yeah,
Flowrider.
because I
it's
heard that and I said to myself, "What's wrong with the song Lowrider?" And wasn't that by War? And my brain
great
just
song.
automatically, switched it over for me because there's some
Yeah, no.
whistling
Nah.
in that
Flow
too, or at least a horn. I'm like, I can't. No, I mean, he's a real goer, but I don't know. It's, I guess, if you squint.
This
No, see, that was
Sorry about that.
song, this isn't a dirty song, but there is a song. What's it called? "Pumped Up Kicks," which is
the
really
school
fucked
shooter
up if you
anthem.
listen to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, I never knew, like, I heard that song all the time on the radio, and finally I looked up the lyrics, and I'm like, what
Yeah, see,
the ever loving, like, oh my
yeah,
god.
see that.
Because people are like, all the other kids with the pumped up kicks, and I'm like, jamming along to it sometimes, occasionally, and then, like, I look up the lyrics one time, and I'm like, this is about a fucking school shooting.
Yeah, no,
Well,
see, I picked
the
up all those
Boomtown
lyrics
Rats.
real
I don't
quick,
like Mondays.
but for
Same
some
thing.
reason, Jay Giles' band Centerfold just didn't click.
Uh,
It's sort of like how that like the weekend the or basically people will be like women. I've known women that they'll be singing along to his songs, and basically his songs are just about abusing women.
Oh yeah, half of them
oh yeah.
are.
I've
My
got I've
fiance's
got
a
some
big
in my
fan. I'm like, you know what
playlist.
this song's about? And she's like, don't ruin it for me.
Nice.
Oh no, I know what songs are about, and I'll still sing along to them. I mean,
Oh
It's sort
god,
of like
oh god.
Well,
yeah, it's sort of like how a lot of Eminem songs are just basically about him killing his wife.
Well,
oh
that or his
man,
mother.
one of my favorite
Uh,
songs
he got
by
issues.
Eminem is very very dark. It's the song about Stan.
Oh, great one.
oh yeah,
I love that song, but my God, it is so dark. I mean, especially because during in the actual track, like towards the end, you hear the woman screaming in the trunk.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, what? What the hell are you
It's
talking about? Oh
okay.
my, no.
You know how it's that phrase now. Like if you're like a huge like obsessive fan with something,
Yeah, we
you're a Stan.
stand, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it comes from that song because Stan was an obsessive fan of Eminem's, and the whole song is like him writing letters, like fan mail to
It was
Eminem.
also based on a true
And
story.
Hmm.
yeah, and
Wow.
he's telling Eminem that he and his girlfriend are expecting their first child and everything. And then as the letters get increasingly angry because he's not getting a response from Eminem until finally at the end, and it's actually a tape recording instead of a letter, because he is in his car. He's talking about like he just took like a bunch of pills, drank like a fifth of vodka, and
Drove
was
off a
driving down the
bridge.
road to the bridge. Yeah, and you hear the woman in the trunk screaming and everything. And remember, this woman is pregnant with his child, and
Oh
he's
my,
got her in the trunk of his car, and he's headed towards the bridge because he's intended to kill both of them. And he
well,
finally does.
oh
Like
yeah.
you actually hear it at the end when he's asking himself, "Oh shit, how am I supposed to send this tape out and everything?" And then you hear the crash, you hear the splash from the water, and then it's Eminem at the end responding to these letters. And finally, he was like, "Yeah, I'm worried about you. I heard the story on the news about this guy that." Had his pregnant girlfriend in the trunk of his
oh
car and drove
my,
off a bridge. And he was like, "Oh shit, wait, that was you."
oh my, okay, I've got this is another one of those, hold on.
What's funny is like they've actually did an AI cover of having Squidward singing it.
Squidward singing this Eminem song.
Yeah, Stan.
Oh my
I don't know how
gosh.
to interpret that.
I know.
And they have
Uh,
SpongeBob doing the woman like singer in it.
Oh, the Dido
Yeah, I don't
parts
say the
of it.
Dido part. Yeah, great song,
Further and further we stray from God's light.
no doubt.
Man-made horrors beyond your comprehension.
I mean, it's funny as hell hearing like Squidward is doing the song. Um, I mean, it's not even like the worst
I'm just
one.
trying
Like,
to like picture how that would sound. Like, cause I love that song by Dido, cause her voice I've always thought was kind of haunting.
Yep.
But now hearing SpongeBob's voice,
I'd have to send you the link to it.
yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, if you ever want
Oh
an
my
entertaining
god.
song, is instead of the song Booty Work, you listen to the song Under the Booty on YouTube. Hilarious every time.
Under the
Oh
booty.
my,
Okay.
I'm looking at the story behind this song, Laura, and oh my god, I'm gonna have
I
nightmares
told you it's a
before
very dark song, but that is probably one of my favorite Eminem songs. I mean, say what you will, but Eminem is a phenomenal lyricist, and like he really knows how to tell a story. So,
I
Yeah.
would argue he was. However, in recent years, he's become much more conforming to cultural norms, which are decidedly liberal.
oh well, yeah, definitely. But I mean, his OG
Oh, no
stuff,
doubt. He's brilliant.
yeah, absolutely.
I think at this point, I would argue that Lil Wayne is probably the best rap lyricist, just in terms of creativity and continuing to put out quality, like, creative lyrics.
Let's say I haven't listened to Lil Wayne in forever. Like if I do, I still go to those like the older songs that like I grew up with. You
Oh,
know?
there you go. I feel like a lot of rap's gotten really lazy, but there are a handful of artists who still keep a torch going for good lyricists.
Oh man, there's this one that I saw on TikTok, and it's this kid named Ren, and I think he's Australian or British or something like that. But he was diagnosed schizophrenic and everything, but he actually created this song and plays it and sings it himself. He wrote the entire thing, but it's him talking to like his illness. You know, it's seriously one of the most brilliant pieces of music that I have heard in recent history.
Do you know the name?
I'm going to look it up right
Alright.
now, seeing if I can find it, because I mean it's absolutely incredible. But I don't know. His name is Ren, but I don't remember the song.
I will say that Spotify, since I started using it, has given me all kinds of wild recommendations, including about a year and a half ago, it started giving me a bunch of Australian and New Zealand rappers. But there was one in particular that had a fantastic song related to drug addiction that I thought had a very pungent point related to the opioid crisis that, we're facing worldwide at this point.
Yeah.
Hey guys, normally I would like let this go on for several hours or whatever. Is like 8:30, 9 o'clock good to end? Because I'm getting tired.
What time zone are you
Yeah,
in?
absolutely.
No,
Ah,
we're on your schedule. It's fine.
here we go.
Yeah,
I actually just found that song is called High Ren, and it's just REN. But it starts out that this person kind of wheels him out. He's in like a hospital gown. But this is seriously like the most amazing video I think I've ever seen. So I'm gonna drop it in the comments real quick.
Alright, I'll make sure I look it up.
It's beyond phenomenal. I don't even have the words to describe it. It's so good, and it's this perfect illustration of like him living with this mental illness and trying to recover from it and just heal and get better.
I sent that song to you, Laura.
Okay.
That SpongeBob like singing Stan thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna listen to that one.
Yeah,
Is that something you can just find on YouTube or? Alright, I'll
yeah,
make sure I look that up.
yeah. They have like AI singing all sorts of stuff. It's funny as hell. So basically, Eminem is like the Stephen King in terms of lyricist for you, Laura.
Yeah.
I know Eminem's getting a lot of pushback now because apparently he made like a song mocking woke people.
I say, I mean, he just, all these people like him started out like pushing the boundaries of what was considered acceptable, and now you just see them do this complete 180, and they're just falling right in line with what they're supposed to be saying and doing.
Yeah, that was kind of him and
I
Howard
can say,
Stern both.
Yeah. Rage in favor of the machine.
well, what's funny about like Eminem is like Eminem's always been like an equal opportunity offender.
Gotta be
He'll
an American
like
idiot.
yeah, I mean
Mm.
Eminem is known. He'll write diss tracks on people that he likes.
I always found it funny. Somebody was like, "Oh, they wrote a diss track about Eminem," and I was like, "Well, shit's about to get real for them."
It
Well,
does
yeah,
keep it interesting.
Yeah.
have Stephen King write a diss track on Eminem.
That would just be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Could you could you imagine like The Shining but in rap form?
Actually, I kind of need that to happen now.
I still think that the response would be the funniest part.
Yeah, I could imagine Stephen King doing that, and then all of a sudden you see like a month later, Eminem just comes
I
out.
mean, frankly, all you need to do to embarrass Stephen King is point out the entirety of the ending of the, book, It.
I was just talking about well, it was not the ending of the book. It was the ending of the first half of the book with the
True.
kids when they were children. So,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
can tell people like, look, it's not what it's being made out to be. And y'all know me, like I'll be the first one to call out anything that I think is, harmful to children. But this was like, these kids were, maybe 13 years old, and let's face it, I mean, kids are doing a lot of stuff they shouldn't be doing at 13 years old, but it was more of a way to bond them and tie them together than it was anything else. It wasn't about the sex.
yeah, but I mean, I would say you could always say in Stephen King's defense, he was probably high as hell when he was writing
Yeah.
it.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
Yeah.
drunk or stoned or
I
something.
I think he did a much better job with Misery than he did with that one, but
Yeah,
Yes.
very still.
I,
I
I
get
don't, of course, I
that.
contribute to this.
It probably doesn't. I mean, it's. I mean, leaving aside his own personal inventiveness, I'm not sure whether it is really a good point or really a bad point that so many of his stories have been adapted so that they have actually left behind the original stories that they were from, like The Green Mile or
Yeah.
Stand By Me
Yeah.
or Shawshank Redemption.
Well, I don't know. The Green Mile and everything based on the series is pretty much dead on, and Shawshank is almost line for line with the story.
yeah, Shawshank did
Well,
a good job.
Yeah.
a funny thing that people don't think about is that Morgan Freeman in The Green Mile, in the book, it was actually an Irishman,
Yeah.
a white
Yeah,
Irishman.
Yeah, he actually
Red.
was a redhead.
That's why he's
White.
red, yeah. In
But
Shawshank.
that's why I absolutely love that little line in the movie where he says, "Maybe it's because I'm Irish," and he just kind of smiles and keeps throwing the ball.
Well, see,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of those things that, when people talk about colorblind casting and all these other things, I think that it calls to mind an important distinction that if you have an actor who can actually fulfill a role and meet the part and bring it to life, it's worth doing. For instance,
Yeah, I mean,
well,
portray characters as they're written.
yeah, what was the one that was done? The recent redo of Macbeth. I'm trying to think of who it was. It wasn't Wesley Snipes. It was why can't I think of his name?
Well,
Um,
well, to me, my personal thing is that I'm more of the opinion that if I mean, especially if the race of the character is sort of essential to the plot, then you don't change it.
mhm.
I can sort of forgive the like in the case of Morgan Freeman and
Yeah,
the replacing like the white Irishman. I can sort of forgive that because like the race of the Irishman, I don't for anything think that that's sort of a big
Yeah,
going
that
to.
wasn't a big
Well,
plot point for the story. So
I mean,
And it also
Just
look
sort
at
helps that,
though, like,
Morgan Freeman's one of the greatest actors of his generation.
well, that's what I
yeah,
was
If
going to
he's good,
say. Like,
if you're going to be good at the role and it's not going to damage the story, then have at it.
well, that's
Like
what I
I
was going to
loved,
say.
for example, that Denzel Washington and Keanu Reeves played brothers in Branagh Much Ado About Nothing. It was
Well,
part of that just made it, kind of hilarious. It really actually you didn't care.
yeah,
I
did y'all
I
ever
actually,
watch the when they did the
I was going.
Gunslinger with Idris Elba?
um,
That I'm not familiar with. No.
Because in the Gunslinger series, it is actually a central part of the story that Roland Deschain, the gunslinger himself, is a white man with like piercing blue eyes. Because there is a character that comes in later in one of the other books and everything that, is calling him all these racial slurs, honky cracker, all that kind of stuff. So his race was very important. But at the same time, and that was just not a good movie in general, not because of the casting choices or anything, because Idris Elba is a phenomenal actor. I'll give him that.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
well, I
Gunslinger,
look
Well,
back at it now, and I look back at it now, and a movie that I can't really look at the same way is the movie Gridiron Gang. You ever heard of that one?
yeah,
I can't really look at that the same way because they had The Rock playing the coach, and the coach was actually a white guy, and
well,
and in the historically, like, and the thing is, it wouldn't be that bad if it was like a fictional story, but it's actually a historical
yeah,
story.
yeah. This one with
That adds a whole layer. Yeah.
the gunslinger is interesting, and that's the reason I wasn't so mad at the cast was because the almost our premise of the Stephen King universe is that there are these alternate realities, there are these other worlds where, I mean, yes, Roland could be a black guy in one of these other worlds, so I didn't really, that wasn't a deal breaker for me. I think they just did a piss poor job with the movie in general.
the
Yeah.
other thing
Not,
I was going to bring up though was I appreciate you, Mike B, bringing up the Denzel Washington brothers because that just reminded me he was actually the actor that I was trying to think of for the tragedy of Macbeth that was redone in 2021.
Oh, okay.
He was he played the part of Macbeth, being a Scottish king, even though he's clearly a black guy. He
Yeah.
truly brought the part to life. Highly recommend the piece to anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Like,
Well,
he
I'll
embodied the
watch
part, but it's because
Denzel
he's a
sing
phenomenal
backwards
actor.
Dr. Seuss. So I mean,
well,
Denzel
yeah,
is he's fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much
he's
in any
phenomenal.
like when he was the Equalizer, and those are nothing throwaway action movies. But you know what? Who cares that he wasn't the same Equalizer as before? He was fantastic.
For
yeah.
sure.
There are some
The
actors
thing-
that it really doesn't matter what they look like. They know how to do that character. They know how to play that role.
They know how to bring it to life.
Yeah.
Well, what I hate about it is when they obviously make a casting decision based entirely on race. And like
Correct.
basically it's not that, like, let's say they had a part for a movie and like they had a part for a movie and it just so happened like it was supposed to be a white character, but the best actor to play it just happened to be a black man. Like that would be one thing, but the way Hollywood does it is where they say, "Oh, well, we know that this character is supposed to be a white person, so we're just going to replace him with a black person." We're not, it's not that it's not that they couldn't find a white person that could play it good, or it's that the black person was the best actor. Said, "No, we picked this role specifically to go against the canon."
Or to put a thumb in the right people's eyes, which is very frustrating. Like, for example, a recent example that just comes right to mind is when they made the Star Trek movies, and they decided out of nowhere, all right, Sulu's gay now. And even George Takei was like, wait a minute, just because I am doesn't mean he was. I never played him that way.
Right.
He canonically has a daughter. I mean, it's...
Well,
it was literally just to check off the right box and then to say, "Oh, are you mad?" and to try to own the chuds.
You know, see, if I was an actor, actress, or something like that, I would be offended. Like, okay, you're just picking me for this role because I check off some kind of box. It's not because you think I'm actually good or that I do well in this role. Like, that's offensive.
Yeah. Well, but it's crazy how many people go along with it. Say, "Yeah, let's do this just because we're going to offend the right people," and like, those people are your fans.
Unless to offend
You know,
people, then don't
I
be.
don't go to McDonald's because they intentionally spit in my Shamrock Shake. I know I I'd stop.
I mean, it's
Oh,
like
well, you're mad? Well, yeah, I'm mad.
what is it? Like, okay,
You know,
I see.
I'm going back to Chick-fil-A.
I see my husband is listening in, and he would actually be a good one to talk about this. But with like the Marvel and DC stuff, when they're intentionally putting women in these traditionally, canonically male roles, just
Yeah.
because they want to have a woman as the lead, like, no, instead of trying to remake these beloved stories and everything, just create new characters.
Right.
All I know is I heard Chick-fil-A and that sounds really good right now.
Chick-fil-A about to close.
Yes.
Let's
I
roll.
need some of God's chicken, okay? I need some of God's chicken.
Oh
See, this
gosh.
is what happens when you leave me alone to think, and I'm just like over here thinking. I'm like, Chick-fil-A
Cane's
could be
chicken's better
really
than
good right now.
Chick-fil-A.
Wait, who said what is better than Chick-fil-A and why?
Raising Cane's.
See, we tried
Okay.
actually to. Well, we were going to try to go to
We
Tuscaloosa because there's a location out there, but apparently it's on the campus of, the University of Alabama, I think is what Daniel said. But we didn't know if it was only open for students or what, so we ended up not going, but I've always wanted to try them.
yeah,
Raising Cane's is good, but I like Chick-fil-A. I'm sorry, Jesus Chicken wins every time.
I mean, we're lucky to have the Chick-fil-A. Forget Cane's or anything like that. We don't have no Bojangles up here. It's a desert. Like if you've ever watched Bless Your Rank on YouTube, it's they none of those folks have made their way up here.
I said the best chicken place we have nearby, because we live in the middle of nowhere. Like if you hear banjos on the way up to my house, like it's not surprising at all. But the best chicken place that we've got, uh, we're like smack dab between two little towns, and it's Zaxby's for both of them. But I think they actually are putting a Bojangles in up here too. So, but I think it is near the Zaxby's, so that's gonna be fun.
Have you
Hack over
eaten
high
Food
luxury.
Stackley's, Laura?
Do what?
Have you eaten Food Stackley's?
I don't. That doesn't sound familiar.
They're really good. They're a chicken place, and they have like chicken salads, chicken sandwiches. It's really good.
I'm always down for a good chicken sandwich.
I love Chick-fil-A's, chicken sandwich with the pepper jack cheese on top and lettuce and ooh.
The spicy
Yeah.
I'm
chicken is it.
hungry now. Yeah,
Spicy chicken is it. I know it's good when it makes me hiccup.
Yeah.
I personally though, I prefer like steak and, stuff like that, but I do like an occasional good chicken sandwich. I don't like bone-in chicken. I don't know why. I just don't. It annoys me.
I don't know if any of y'all could.
It depends if it's done well. Like Popeye's crispy spicy chicken is fantastic.
I need some place to come out with like the skin of the chicken only, and then just have that, and then and just not even the meat, just the skin of the fried chicken, and then that would be delicious.
Oh, it's the best part.
I'm still gonna tell them what you just did. What? All y'all talking about chicken. This man comes, like, literally flung the bedroom door open, says, "I'm a sandwich, but I do have some cock."
No, he didn't. Oh
No.
my
Yes, he did.
god,
With a
that's
big old
so
grin
funny.
And now it's on the record.
I always have
Oh
to
my
surprise
god.
for him.
Dear gracious.
No, he didn't. Oh, Daniel, what the hell?
This is why I'm upstairs where the lad can't hear this conversation.
Yeah. That's just a general good principle to have for this show.
Yes, it always ends with somebody talking about genitals or just making crude jokes or whatever.
I say,
I,
point.
I already have to fling my hands over his ears every 10 minutes in the world at large anyway, so I.
I cannot believe Daniel just flung the door open and did that. That is so fucking funny. I can't even.
This is like 90% of my life with this man.
The last episode killed me. The last episode of this killed me because Daniel was like making dad jokes by the end of it. Like it got kind of dark and then Daniel starts making dad jokes and we're talking about dad jokes and it was just so funny. I was like, man, Daniel's the life of the party.
Just don't get him started on the dad jokes, because then he wants to explain them all the time, and then he
That's so adorable though. Like the fact that he's like, all right, let me tell you why that's funny. Like to me, that's and especially with the accent too. It's like your dad or your uncle telling you like a joke. You can't help but laugh because it's so funny.
Well, there is one rule of thumb to remember with a dad joke. It's not a dad joke until the humor becomes apparent.
all he said was, "That's right."
I'm surprised Daniel's not in the background. See, the reason why that's funny is because ...
Would you just dad joke
I just wanted to
dad
send a
joke?
little Tyler fleeing in shame. You make the younger ones cringe. You've done your job.
I love dad jokes. I love dad jokes, puns, like all that kind of shit. I love it.
I've gotten to where now, like, it'll just crack him up if I just sigh and roll my eyes. I don't even say anything anymore.
Laura's like, I've been married to you for this many years, you know.
I married him on purpose, but sometimes he tests
Oh.
me a little bit.
Oops! Oh, wait, what happened here? that would be a challenge, I think.
You know what? If I meet you, Laura, and Daniel doesn't tell one dad joke, I'm gonna be really disappointed.
Oh, he'll do it because he's not capable of, like, not doing it.
Well, I mean, if he keeps it up, you're gonna have to make another grocery list, Laura.
Hey, I threaten him with it all the time. Don't make me get my notepad out.
Don't make me get... One of the episodes of Talk Murder to Me is just, listen, so something happened.
I say, there is going to be one night, you just know it, he's going to make one of those jokes like he did with the Jeffrey Dahmer thing about him being a fudge packer.
Oh God, no.
And all you're going to do is, I'm just going to start naming off like grocery items. Like, okay, I need to get like paper towels. I need to get this or that. And then he's just going to shut up.
That's one way to stop your husband from speaking.
I assume most of the people in here already know the story of the grocery list. So,
Well, I'm picking it up from context, so I'm enjoying myself.
just a quick little recap. Usually when I'm, doing my housework and doing whatever I have to do around the house, usually I'll have on like the TV for background noise. And a lot of times it's just the ID channel. And there was one day they were having a marathon of, it was either Women Who Kill or Snapped. And Daniel had to work a little bit later that night than normal, so he didn't get home till about 8 o'clock. So I had already fed me and the Tiny Tyrant, got us dinner, got everything put away. And I sat down to make my grocery list for the next day. And he walks in the front door and looks down, and all he sees is me with a pen and a pad of paper while the show is going on, and I'm just jotting notes down.
She said it. She said she's jotting notes down. She didn't say she's making a list. She just admitted she's jotting notes down.
He's trying to get this on record now. But all he did, he stopped for a second. He goes, "Did I do something wrong?"
Laura's like, I will never tell. I will never get it on record what I was doing or what I wasn't doing.
No, y'all know me. I'm not stupid. I'm not ever going to put anything in writing. Like that's like just a rookie mistake. You don't do that.
If anyone's familiar with Charles Adams's original cartoons, I might even have it saved on my phone. I can send it through the chat. It's the lady who shows up at the information counter at the department store, and she just demands to know where the blunt instruments are sold. Got to see if I can find. Yeah, oh, here it is. See, it pays to have a well organized camera roll. I also found that Chick-fil-A meme I like to send around from time to time. I sent that through too. Can't take credit for either of them.
But yeah, I remember there was a case on Forensic Files. It was a serial bomber. But the reason the guy got caught was because he had jotted down the plans and the schematics and everything of his bombs on a legal pad, But, he tore off the sheet with the plans and burned it, destroyed it, all that kind of stuff. But they found the pad and the indents from his pen and everything. They were able to, recreate what he had written. And I'm like,
That's wild.
Never put anything in writing.
Yeah.
Why didn't he burn? Okay, if I'm glad obviously he got caught and stuff, but why didn't he
They don't think about stuff like that. I mean, even with computers.
Why didn't he burn the whole notepad?
Yeah, you just don't think about stuff like that. You don't think about okay, well, I've been writing on this. I don't think I was bearing down hard enough to make actual impressions on the paper below it. So you don't think about stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and I actually had one joke with Jeffrey Dahmer in it. So basically, a guy goes up to Jeffrey Dahmer, and Jeffrey Dahmer says, "Hey, you want some ice cream?" And the guy says, "Sure. Sure." He says, and Jeffrey Dahmer says, "Oh, well, I have Ben and Jerry in my freezer."
That's actually pretty good, yeah. Yeah, if y'all missed the Jeffrey Dahmer joke, just go back to the last episode of Talk Murder to Me, because we were talking, it had been made mention that, he did work at a chocolate factory, and Daniel just had to slip it in there that he was a fudge packer.
No, Daniel.
You actually, I think you hear me in it go, "Oh my God, shush."
Yeah. Well, I mean, the alternative title for the new Netflix, for the Netflix Dahmer series, it could have been Jeffrey Dahmer and the Chocolate Factory.